Facebook. Hello, everybody. It is Laura here. I shall just see who's with us. Now, today is the first day of our sessions around rain, that principle that I talked to you about last week, where you can really explore when you have something difficult and challenging that you're dealing with, whether it's a relationship or it's a situation that you're dealing with, whatever it is, the rain process will allow you to open up to it and bring mindful, loving awareness to it, so that you can apply that mindfulness in a way that can actually shift it and change it for you. And so that's really what this session is about. Is starting to introduce that, and we're going to start with the R of rain. And the R of rain relates to recognizing. So it's so much of what we experience in our relationships or in the challenging situations that we have are below our conscious mind. They're not really being experienced. So if I get angry about something, often really what's going on is much further down. There's something going on underneath that anger. That's or frustration or any strong emotion. It's usually a cover for something else that's going on in our subconscious mind. So this process allows us to start to become really clear about that. And that first step of recognizing what you're feeling and acknowledging whatever experience there is in moment by moment is really a powerful first step. And it can be done really simply. And we've started this process with some of the practices that we've been doing. So when we've been, I'm seeing if we're still actually live here, because it's a bit of a pause there on Facebook. When we've been doing the work of labeling and noticing in that open awareness practice, where we are in our meditation and we just open our awareness and don't have a focus, and we just wait and see what comes up. We use labeling. Hi, Judith. We use labeling of sensations, hearing, thinking. That's part of recognizing. It's the first stages of that recognizing, and we can expand that and extend that to include the emotions that come up, to include all of the body sensations that we experience. And so today, in essence, what we'll do in our practice won't feel massively different, in the sense that we're still just going to be recognizing without judgment whatever comes up in our body and in our environment. And that noting, almost like a mental whisper, is so important to really start to crystallize what we're noticing. So in the meditation today, I'll guide you as normal, and we'll, as always, we'll use our body and the breath to bring us into this moment, to bring us into right now, and then we'll open up and we'll allow whatever comes up to be in our awareness, and we'll label it. And whereas we normally just use hearing, sensation, and thinking, this time, if there's an emotion that you can feel, and you can find a label for it, if it jumps out with a label, then you can label it too. So you can label frustration, boredom, more of a thought really, angry or anger, resentment, hatred. What other emotions might you feel? Maybe for positive ones as well. Love, gratitude. But often when we tune in, it's the things that we've been pushing down that are the things that come to the surface. Maybe envy. Just see, whatever comes up. And this isn't about trying to chase down what a label we should give it. So what can happen when and often this is the reason we don't start with labeling emotion, is because it can very quickly kick into thinking, because we have a feeling, we go, oh, am I angry, or am I feeling envy, or am I feeling resentment? And then we start thinking about what am I feeling, and we don't want to get into the thinking. And when you feel that happen, when you feel yourself being taken away by thinking, see if you can bring it back to just labeling that as well. So we'll start with clearing our minds as normal, by connecting to our body, and then we'll see what happens and see what we experience. I'll just check nobody's trying to get in over in Zoom. That's great. Just Debbie over there. And not just Debbie. And fear. Yeah, that's a good one, Judith. Especially right now, actually, anxiety, depression, perhaps. Maybe we feel a sense of emptiness. So it's really just labeling whatever's there. Now, there might be a little bit of noise in the background, so hopefully we can tune that out and just label that as hearing as well. But open up to whatever you experience and know that this is just the first step of this process, and then we'll build on it tomorrow. So closing down the eyes, allowing yourself to settle into being here. I'm going to actually, before we do this, I'm going to put my headphones in so that you can hear my voice more clearly. Background noise. That's great. So closing down the eyes and tuning into the body first. Just beginning to become aware of our body. Often the body can become invisible to us as we go about our day and we're lost in the busyness and looking outwards. So just turning inwards now. Imagining a turning inwards. And taking our awareness to the very tips of the fingers. Really tuning in to whatever sensation's there. Noticing how that the conversation with our nervous system is always happening, even when we're not paying attention. When the mind wanders, as it will, we lose that connection. And then seeing if you can add your toes now. So your fingers and your toes are in your awareness. And allowing any awareness to spread across the palms of the hands and the soles of the feet now. Bringing the mind back if it's drifting off to other things that are happening or thoughts that are coming up. And giving yourself permission to be right here. I'm exactly where I planned to be. There's nothing else to do. There's nowhere else to be. This is it. This moment to tune into me, my experience, is all that's real. And then allowing the awareness to drift up the ankles now. The ankles and the shins and the calves, up to the knees. And from the knees, traveling up the thighs, into the hips. So feeling with the legs in the chair or on the floor. Maybe feeling heaviness, maybe feeling lightness. And just noticing whatever you feel. And from the hands, traveling up the wrists and the forearms. From the elbows up all the way to the shoulders. Feeling the weight of the arms, the hands in the lap. Again, noticing if there's a heaviness or a lightness. Bringing that conscious awareness to whatever we're experiencing in the body right now. As we focus our attention and choose where our attention goes. And allowing it to spread across the chest and down into the belly. Across the back of the shoulders, down the back of the spine. Now being aware of the whole body and any areas where there's tension. Maybe noticing the face, the forehead, Maybe feeling that relaxation response kicking in as your body accepts this turning inwards. Maybe noticing if there's still resistance without trying to change it. Maybe you're already aware of other sensations. So we'll use our breath just briefly to ground us and anchor us. And the breath can be that place that we come back to at any time while we're doing our open awareness practice. So just noticing where you feel the breath. Maybe it's that rising and falling of the chest or the belly. Or maybe it's where the cool air enters the nostrils or the mouth. Just being aware of whatever you feel. Beginning to label that rising and falling of the body as it breathes. The body's breathing and you're just watching. Beginning to become aware of yourself. So when we breathe in, we're labeling it rising. When we breathe out, falling. Rising, falling. Rising, falling. And if the mind's wandered, just coming back to that rising and falling. That anchor point. Without trying to change the breath or control it, even if there's an urge to do so. We're going to let go of that labeling of the breath now. Allow the awareness to just open. Imagining spotlights on a stage that have been focused on one spot on the breath. Imagining those lights lifting up, lighting the whole stage. So your attention is free to notice whatever comes into your awareness. And perhaps there's body sensations. If that becomes the most prominent, just labeling it sensation. Sensation. Or if there's sounds, labeling it hearing. Hearing. Not trying to label or know everything that comes into your awareness, just whatever feels the most prominent in any moment. And of course, there's thoughts. Our minds are thinking machines. Just as our nose smells and our eyes see, our mind thinks. And we're just going to label that raw experience as just thinking. So whatever comes up as thoughts, just noting it as thinking. 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 And if we become aware of emotions, which is energy and motion in our body, just labeling whatever feels the most obvious about that feeling, whether that's anxiety, fear, sadness, resentment, anger, joy, happiness, gratitude. Perhaps you notice that there's a body sensation associated with where that feeling is. And you can label that too. So it's just emotion or feeling, whichever word feels right for you. Feeling, feeling, sensation, thinking. We're learning to be with whatever arises exactly as it is. Often our default is to try to avoid the things that come up, to push them away, or to become consumed by them so they become so central to our awareness that there's nothing else. In this process, we're just going to allow, we're just going to notice what those things are. You're going to notice what comes up and notice our relationship to it as we label it. So you can label the feeling as just the word feeling, or you can label it as the feeling you're experiencing. So just anger, frustration, frustration. Just labeling it while it's there until the next thing comes along. So we'll have some silence now. So you can sit and label whatever comes up. Sensation, hearing, thinking, and then naming whatever emotion you feel. And as soon as you notice yourself thinking about that emotion or getting caught up, making sure that you gently let it go and just label that thinking. And when it's time, I'll guide you back. And maybe the time of silence will be filled with labels. Or maybe there'll be periods, even moments, where there's nothing to label, where there's just awareness. Just be curious about what your experience is, without judgment. And wherever your mind is now, or your body, just coming back to the breath. Beginning to label that rising and falling again. Rising, falling. Letting go of whatever you experienced. Just being here now with the breath. Focusing your attention. Noticing how it feels to be doing that now, after that time of just opening the awareness. Maybe there's a shift. Maybe it feels slightly different in some way. Or maybe you won't notice the difference until your eyes are open. And we'll take 3 bigger than usual breaths just to allow us to really rest in this space. So breathing in through the nose. Allowing a big sigh out of the mouth. And 2 more like that. Slow and rhythmic. Letting the breath find its natural rhythm again. Allowing the fingers and toes to wiggle. Really giving the shoulders a bit of a shrug. And gently blinking open the eyes and noticing the world reappear. And today isn't about analysing or trying to form conclusions about what we've noticed or our experience. Seeing if you can just allow it to have been. We had a slightly longer period of silence than we often do, and sometimes that can be uncomfortable. It can feel like we're not quite sure how to be there, and that's okay. It's that language learning style of meditation where we need to go out of our comfort zone a little bit, or maybe you're able to find a stillness that isn't always possible. However it was for you is just how it was today. So I hope that wherever you are, that you can take a sense of conscious awareness into the rest of your day. And I'll see you tomorrow at 2:15, and we'll be looking at allowing, and that'll be the next stage in our RAIN journey. I'll see you soon.